Example number 2. The angle of intersection of a circular curve is 36 degrees and 30 minutes. If the external distance is 12.02 meters, determine the radius of the curve, tangent distance, middle ordinate, length of chord, and the length of curve. So given C, angle of intersection, CI, which is 36 degrees and 30 minutes. And also, given yung external distance which is equal to 12.02 meters. So, first step, we have to draw the curve or yung arc natin. So, we have this curve and draw tayo ng tangent line. Yan, tangent line. So, the tangent line on the circle is always perpendicular to its radius. So, ito yung magiging center ng ating circle. And draw natin yung long chord from the beginning of the curve to the end of the curve. Yan. And draw tayo ng straight line from the center of our circle to the point of intersection. Then, i-label natin siya as point of curvature, point of tangency, point of intersection, yung radius natin, dalawang radius, then the tangent distance, the external distance, the middle ordinate, yung L over 2, yung half na length of chord, and the half of length of chord. And also, given yung angle of intersection CI, and the same with the central angle. And this is half of the central angle or half of the angle of intersection. Next, so dito sa problem natin, given na yung angle of intersection which is equal to 36 degrees and 30 minutes. So the same with 36 degrees and the same with the central angle which is equal to 36 degrees and 30 minutes. So therefore, I over 2 is 18 degrees and 15 minutes. See, I over 2, 18 degrees and 15 minutes, 18 degrees and 15 minutes. So first we are going to determine the radius of the curve. So paano natin malalaman yung radius ng curve? So hanapin natin yung radius, ang radius ng curve gamit yung available or yung known na values, di ba? Known yung central angle natin at known yung external distance. So paano natin ngayon mahanap si radius ng curve? So we can use this right triangle here. Ito, from PC, PI, tsaka dito sa center ng circle. Ito, yung right triangle na yan. So, ang adjacent side natin dyan, yung R, radius, yung opposite side natin is yung tangent line, or si T, and yung hypotenuse natin ngayon is from PI to the center of the circle. And we can observe here also na yung radius natin dito is the same with the distance from the midpoint of the curve to the center of the circle. Tama? If this is R, if this is radius, this one also is the radius. So therefore, our hypotenuse here is the radius plus the external distance, which is known. So, hanapin natin sa radius, since this is right triangle, ano yung trigonometric function ang pwede natin gamitin? We can use the cosine function. Diba? Pag cosine function is simply the adjacent divided by the hypotenuse, where hypotenuse is E plus R. Unlike pag sine function yung gamitin natin or tangent function, unknown si T and unknown also si radius. So we can only use the cosine function. Tama? So we can only use the cosine function. So cosine I over 2 is equals to the opposite, the adjacent, which is R, divided by the hypotenuse, which is R, plus E. Or the cosine of 18 degrees and 15 minutes is equals to the radius over R plus external distance na 12.02 meters. So using shift solve, makukuha natin yung value ni R, which is equal to 226.94 meters. So meron na tayo ngayong value ni R or yung radius ng ating curve. So, known na yung radius ng ating curve. Next, determine naman natin si tangent distance T. Ito, kasi known naman si R at saka known na si E. So, paano natin mahanap si tangent distance T? We can use also the same right triangle. Ito kanina yung ginamit natin para makuha si R. Tama? So, what trigonometric function ang pwede nating gamitin? We can use the tangent function. Tama? Kasi opposite divided by the adjacent, which is known na yung adjacent natin na si R, which is 226.94. And we can also use the sine function, di ba? Kasi known na si opposite, unknown si opposite, and given naman si R, so makuha natin yung hypotenuse, where hypotenuse is simply the R plus the external distance. So, try natin siya using the tangent function. The tangent function, or tan of I over 2, is equals to the opposite T divided by the adjacent R, or the tangent of 18 degrees and 15 minutes is equals to T divided by the radius R, which is 226.94 meters. So, tangent distance T is equals to 74.83 meters. So, known na yung value ni the radius and known na value ni tangent distance. Number 3. So, on number 3, we have to determine the middle ordinate. So, paano natin mahanap yung middle ordinate? So, given, known naman si T, tsaka given si E, tama? So, we can use this right triangle here, yung si M, tama? Or pwede rin dito, yung, di ba, yung distance from the midpoint of the chord to the center of the circle dyan is R minus M, tama? Radius man ito, R from here to here, yan yung magiging R minus M. Pwede natin itong magamit na right triangle, or ito, pareha lang yan sila. And pwede din ito from PC, PI, tsaka yung midpoint ng ating chord. So, yan yung gagamitin natin ngayon. So, given naman si E, tama? Given si T. However, unknown lang si L over 2 and unknown si middle ordinate. But we can use what trigonometric function? We can use sine function, di ba? The opposite over the hypotenuse para ma-avoid natin si L over 2. So, we can use the sine function I over 2 equals to E over M, which is the opposite, divided by the hypotenuse, which is T. So, therefore, sine of 18 degrees and 15 minutes is equals to the E, 12.02 plus M, divided by the tangent distance T na 74.83 na nakuha natin kanina. So, using shift solve again, value of M, yung middle ordinate natin is equals to 11.41 meters. So, known na si radius of the curve, tangent distance, and nakuha na natin si middle ordinate. Then, number 4, determine the length of chord L. Determine the length of chord L. So, paano? So, we can use also yung dito kanina, tama? Or we can use this triangle. Kahit saan lang dyan, kasi known naman si R, known naman si T, known na si E, tsaka known na si M. So, pwede natin makuha si L over 2, or makuha natin si L, or yung length of chord. So, shall we say, ito pa rin yung gagamitin natin na triangle. So, we can use what? We can use the tangent function, and we can also use the cosine function. So, shall we say, or pwede rin tayong gamitin sine function. Yung ginamit ko dito, sine function, ayan. Sine function, considering ito na triangle. So, considering this triangle, ayan, from here, ito na right triangle, ayan, right triangle. So, I have used sine function. The opposite divided by the hypotenuse. Yung opposite natin si L over 2 and hypotenuse si R. Tama? Kasi known naman si R. So, sine, or simply the sine of 18 degrees and 15 minutes is equals to L over 2 divided by the radius, which is equals to 226.94. Therefore, the length of chord is equals to 142.14 meters. Ito yung ginamit ko na right triangle. However, pwede nyo rin tong gamitin. Ito, di ba? Kasi known naman si E, known na si M, tsaka known na si T. Makukuha na natin si L over 2. Pythagorean theorem lang. Given hypotenuse, makuha nyo na si A, tsaka kasi given naman si B. Di ba? B is equals to E plus M. Yung C squared equals to A squared plus B squared. So ito yung sinasabi ko din na kahit basta alam mo lang kung paano siya gagamitin, makukuha mo yung the same na value. So kahit anong way, anong way ang gagamitin mo, makuha mo pa rin yung the same na value as long as tama lang yung process na ginawa mo. So yan, meron na tayong length of chord. And also, class, pwede rin natin makuha si length of chord dito using the cosine law, tama? Given naman si T, this is T, and this is 1, the tangent. And given na si central, since given, ito, makukuha natin ito, yung 180 minus I, tama? So, given dalawang side, tsaka yung included angle dito, makukuha agad natin yung length of chord. Using cosine law, cosine law. Tama? So, maraming way para makuha yung elements ng simple curve. So, knowledge lang talaga ng trigonometry. Then, lastly, unknown si length of curve. So, kunin natin si length of curve. So, makuha natin si length of curve. So, given naman si R and the central angle, pwede natin siya ma-solve using this formula, yung pi RI over 180 degrees. You don't have to memorize this formula as long as alam mo yung formula na radius times the central angle, where the central angle must be in radians, diba? Itong S equals to R theta. Ito yun siya, yung pi RI divided by 180 degrees. So, substitute dyan. So, pi times 226.94, I, 36 degrees and 30 minutes, divided by 180. So, therefore, the length of curve is equals to 144.57 meters. So, known na lahat ng elements. The radius of the curve, tangent distance, middle ordinate, length of chord, and the length of curve. So, purely lahat, trigonometry lang. Your knowledge in trigonometry in solving the elements of the simple curve.